Tell me about Los Angeles.
Los Angeles is really cool. It's definitely different from Chicago. I definitely had this major adjustment period when I first got here, where I was adjusting to not being able to walk everywhere, and that was
What's
very
that
new.
like?
It is kind of difficult actually. Like I'm very lucky that I live in a place that like I can at least still walk to the grocery store, and there's good like shopping around me and good restaurants around me that I can easily walk to, but
Okay.
there's definitely it's a limited amount. Like I definitely can only walk about like a 6 block radius until it gets a little sketchy to be walking around.
What like neighborhood or area are you in?
I'm by West Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like right by the Grove Mall.
I have no idea what that is.
It's okay.
The sign, is that like, isn't that like West Hollywood?
No, that's more like Central Hollywood. I guess I'm like a little bit. I'm like a 5 minutes away from like the Sunset Strip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Los Angeles geography, not something that I'm strong at.
It's okay. I wasn't strong about it either. I was joking with my mom the other day that I was really good with like the whole north, south, east, west thing in Chicago. But
Yeah.
people say that to me here, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But one day I will.
I spent like 2 or 3 days in LA, and I was taking a road trip out west with Greyhound buses.
All
And
right.
so I like stayed like by the USC campus and downtown. And this was like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like so disappointed that downtown's like 19 miles from the ocean. I've
Oh
never
yeah.
actually seen the Pacific Ocean except if you count bays,
Yeah.
like the Seattle Bays or the San Francisco Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, like not
Not
not like
actually.
waves and beaches. Yeah.
Wow. I'm a little closer to the ocean than that. I'm only about 8 miles away.
Okay. So I'm looking at a map. What is the vibe of West Hollywood?
West Hollywood is kind of like the gay area of LA. They
Okay.
got like it's like where the nightclub life is, and there's like tons of like small businesses, bookstores, movie theaters, and then a lot of nightclubs, and it's very decorated. Like they all have their outdoor patios, and there's lights along, like you know that the alley right next to the station that's like painted with the mural that has lights all up along it and on the sea, like on from the sky. It's
Maybe.
like that. It's like that for like miles. They got just like lanterns above the streets.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So how is it? Okay, so I'm looking at a map. It's by Beverly Hills,
Yes.
Burbank, Culver City. What are kind of the vibes of those? Like what are they known for?
Like Culver City is definitely the place where a lot of people live. That's like a very central place to live if you want to be close to the beach and close to downtown. It's where a lot of the studios are.
Oh, like art studios?
Like that's where Sony Pictures is and Paramount is and Fox.
Oh, okay. Beverly Hills, what is that? That's like up in the mountains a little bit more.
No, Beverly Hills is like kind of like it's a little bit that way, but not necessarily in the hills yet, but it's definitely more the ritzy area. Like if you are going to like hang out in Beverly Hills, like where the restaurants and the shopping is, it's not quite in the hills, but the houses that have the Beverly Hills address are in the hills.
Okay.
Mhm.
What's like the trendy place to live right now? Like,
I definitely think people I do meet a lot of people who like say like West Hollywood is a cool place to live. A lot of people like to live in Culver City, but North Hollywood is also pretty up and coming when it comes to like a hopping neighborhood.
what about the stars? Like if you're like now an A-list celebrity, where are you gonna live?
I definitely think a lot of stars live in the Hollywood Hills or Beverly Hills.
Okay. So you're pretty close to them then.
Yeah, it's very
You
cool.
ever
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
I live right by this intersection of off La Cienega that once you're on it, you can like see this beautiful view of the hills and like the sun's you can see like straight ahead and it's just like all these houses on the hills and all this and the sun's like coming down on them, and there's palm trees all the way going down. It's very surreal to see it in person.
What was it like moving out there? Because there's so many images of,
Mhm.
you know, California and palm trees and just lights and like,
Oh, yeah.
how did you feel when you like first got there?
Definitely when I first got here, I was trying to like romanticize it a lot because I'm very fortunate the area I live in is very close to Beverly Hills. So I'm surrounded by palm trees and like it is a nice area. So when I like driving around like in my area feels very like classic LA because it's surrounded by palm trees and all these pretty signs, and like there's also like beautiful houses all around with their like vintage cars. Like I wasn't like a couple weekends ago, I was just like bored and wanted to do something for like during the day. And I literally just went driving through Bel Air, which was only like 20 minutes away from me. And it was just so cool to like drive up on these hills and see all these beautiful houses and everything.
Huh.
Yeah. But
What
I
what
spent
an interesting yeah, drive around and just look at houses. Yeah.
yeah, I definitely spend a lot of time just like romanticizing it of like, oh my God, this is where the studio is. And there's all these like beautiful statues of all these famous people and like all these just like historic landmarks and like all these famous nightclubs. Like I was going to the beach a lot and I was definitely hitting up like all these famous nightclubs. Like I was a regular on Sunset Strip my first few months here. I still kind of am. I like to go there a lot.
What's that? So Sunset Strip, that's like the area to go out in.
Probably, I mean, it depends on who you ask. There's so many places to go out in
Yeah.
that
Right,
like
right.
you could go to like a new neighborhood every weekend and you probably still wouldn't have hit them all.
What's the nightlife like there? I hear a lot of like house parties are big
It
there, right?
definitely is super different. Like it's more expensive to drink out here for sure. Like I know drinking in Chicago would maybe be like $10 a cocktail, where here it's maybe
Okay.
pushing $20 a cocktail.
Okay.
And the bars aren't as open as late. Like I think a lot of bars close around 2 a.m. here rather than like the 4 or 5 a.m.ers in Chicago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's definitely something for me to get used to because I'm just like, why can't I'm like I'm adjusting to go out earlier than I used to. Like a lot of times I used to go out around 11 and it wouldn't be that big a deal. But now it's like, no, I should maybe go out around like 9 or 10 just so I can be out longer.
So what do people do? They just get like Ubers back then? Or do people
I do
like
think I do think a lot
designate
of
drivers or
I
what?
think a lot of people do have designated drivers from what I can see.
Huh.
Yeah, it's very different.
Do you have like a spot, like a favorite spot that you've gone out to so far?
Um, I think one of the spots that I have at least returned to more than once, just because there's so many places that I'm just like, I want to try here and I want to try here. But some place I've gone to at least more than once has been Davy Wayne's in Hollywood.
Okay.
It's called Good Times at Davy Wayne's, and it's a 70s themed like bar nightclub kind of situation. And it's really cute because it has like these like carpeted walls and they have like these like 70s style
Carpeted walls, yes.
yeah, and like these 70s style couches that was like all yellow and red. And when you walk in, like you wait in line and you come in and like what you come into is like it looks like it'd be like a porch like thing. Like you look like you'd see it on a porch, but then the door is like a fridge door. It's like an old fridge
Oh,
door that you pull to open.
huh.
Yeah. But that
Are
spot's
there
really cool. It's 70s
what
theme and they a lot of times have live music and everything.
okay. What kind of music are they playing there? 70s?
Yeah, 70s. I think last time I went there, they had like a rock cover band that did they did like a whole bunch of stuff. They definitely did a few they did like two cheap trick songs. They did a couple Beatles covers and like Hall and Oates and a Metallica cover. Like they were a little all over the place, but they were really good.
Huh. So when you're going out, are there a lot of lines? Like, do you have to wait in lines a lot? That's what I kind of imagine.
Oh yeah,
Is it like that?
there's definitely a lot of lines. Unless you're there
Gross.
earlier, kind of.
Yeah. Who wants
Yeah,
to get there early though?
I
Yeah.
know. I
Huh.
went to a place on Saturday where we actually went out kind of late and there wasn't a line. Like I think we got there at 11:30 and then there wasn't a line. So you got to find that happy spot, I guess.
Huh. That's gotta be interesting. Well, I mean, like just adjusting to a
Mhm.
different city's culture is
Absolutely.
interesting, right? Like you're so used to Chicago by this point that like is it like jarring to like start over where you have to like know all these nuances about how people operate and like what the vibe
Mhm.
is like?
It definitely, yeah, it's definitely jarring, but it's probably jarring just because like when I moved to Chicago, I moved there for college. So
Hmm.
I was also like immediately thrown into like I'll meet people and I'll meet people who are also brand new to this city.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like as, I guess it wasn't as scary when I moved to Chicago than to when I moved
Yeah.
here, like being older and like not being thrown into like a school environment or anything. Like
Yeah.
because I have to definitely figure a lot more out on my own of like what do I want to do? What kind of things do I want to see? And like what kind of people do I want to meet?
Is it easy to meet people out there or difficult?
Oh, it is easy to meet people, I think. Like people are definitely open to talking to you when you go out to a bar.
Mhm.
Like you'll definitely meet people, like exchange Instagrams with people. It's just like maybe if you want to actually maybe pursue a friendship with that person is where like a barrier comes in where it's like, hey, like I had a really good time meeting you. Would you want to hang out again? And it's like, yeah, and then you never hear from each other again.
Huh.
Yeah. But people are
Okay.
definitely open to talking to you. It's just finding like I guess the genuine people who want to really build on that.
Yeah, that's an interesting word choice there. Genuine. On a scale of
Mhm.
1 to 10, how accurate are the stereotypes of LA?
I think it depends on where you are.
Okay.
Because, yeah, it definitely depends on where you are. Because where I am, like, there's not as much, but I definitely have met people that are very strong LA stereotypes.
Huh. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a huge city. So, of course, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, there's going to be all types of different people.
Hmm.
Huh.
It's
Okay.
very
So, have
interesting.
you
But
gone to a lot of shows?
yeah,
Hope
yeah.
Hope is like she knows music. She's like on
Mhm.
top of music before the music gets like big, like that type of person.
Yeah. I was, yeah, when I found out like where my apartment was that I was going to be living and how close it was to Sunset Boulevard, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm going to be there all the time. And like, I've definitely been there a few times at this point. And I honestly always have a good time. It's like a chill good time, which is what's really cool about it.
Okay.
But it's so much fun because you can go into like any bar of any night of the week and there's probably like live music on. And it's a small, like, sometimes it's like a small local LA artist, but like this upcoming Wednesday, Billy Idol is going to be playing at like one of those bars.
Really?
Like, which is so weird to me because I'm like, I can just go walk into a random bar on a Wednesday and see Billy Idol in 2022, just like I probably could have in 1983.
Huh. So Sunset Boulevard, any day of the week, there's a potential show. And because it's Los Angeles, it pulls in talent. So like every night you can see talented people.
Yeah, and definitely like it definitely pulls in talent because those clubs are where like the Doors premiered, where Motley Crue premiered, where Led
Yeah.
Zeppelin premiered. Like that's where a lot of these big classic rock acts first perform. So a lot of people are like, I have to go there just for the history of it.
Wow. What's a venue name that I should know?
Definitely the Whiskey a Go Go. That's probably the biggest one that I've heard of when it comes to the classic rock scene.
Okay.
And there's actually this memoir I read by a very famous groupie named Pamela DeBow, and she wrote a memoir about her days as a groupie, and that was like her spot. That's where she met
That's
Jim
where she could
Morris.
scout.
Yeah, that's where she met like that's where she met Jimmy Page, Jim Morrison, like Frank Zappa, all of them. And so that place is really cool because they definitely keep into the historic vibe. Like it's still got its disco ball, and they have all these like cool like memorabilia on the wall, but it's still just like a bar. Like it's still just like a dive bar
Yeah.
with really cool history.